motivating and empowering women, emphasizing knowledge of power to create, nurture, and transform lives to come. It's definitely going to be a great time in the Ladies Lounge tonight with your host, Kathy B. To advertise on Ladies Lounge, contact Kathy B at kathyb@sourceradionetwork.com. Now, here's your host, Kathy B.
Nation, and welcome to the Ladies Lounge. I am your host, Kathy B. We have about 2 hours before we lose the live feed. Telephone number to reach us tonight is 619-924-0933. Again, 619-924-0933. Well, you guys know that tonight is going to be a special night because I have some amazing ladies here in the studio with me. But before I let you guys know who I'm going to be speaking with and what we're going to be speaking on, I have some amazing sponsors that I need to thank, and they are Meet My Types Matchmaking, Blend to Blend Deuce Bar Boutique, Urban Grandstand Digital, and New Covenant Appraised Worship Center. Now, you guys know that we've already launched the Love Zone Monday Book Club. That's right. What I need for you guys to do is definitely go out and check out what we're putting on that page, because we're doing some wonderful and amazing things. Yes, we are. But you know what I'm going to ask? We need to have more people inside of the book club talking about the amazing things that we're doing, sharing the page, and definitely tuning in every single Monday night where we have great information, where we're wanting to put you all together and talk about relationships and definitely strive for longevity and success in our relationships. So that's every single Monday, right here on Source Radio Network, Love Zone Mondays, and then, of course, out on Facebook, the Love Zone Monday Book Club. Well, tonight is going to be a wonderful night because, as I stated, Source Nation, we're going to be speaking with some amazing women. Now, you all know that often I get book authors and book clubs here on the Ladies Lounge, and I am going to start that once again here and definitely in the new year. And we're going to kick it off tonight with a beautiful young lady coming in, and she's going to share her story with us. I'm going to be speaking with Miss Sanita Mitchell. So what we're going to do, Source Nation, is we're going to take a little break, and we're going to come back, and I'm going to have the beautiful Sanita Mitchell right here in the studio with me. Take a quick break. You're listening live right here on the Ladies Lounge. We'll be right back.
We'll be back, Source Radio Network, after this commercial break.
Source Radio Network is just one of the many platforms that is used to fulfill dreams of our listeners and create a purpose that will impact the lives of our communities, cities, and the world. It is often said that great things will happen when a group of driven people work together to accomplish one goal. We're giving people the opportunity to have a voice, translate words that haven't been heard, and paint pictures that no one has seen. Source Radio Network is fueling your life's purpose. How can you listen? www.blogtalkradio.com/Source Radio.
Took a moment to process some things you've said and did to me. Now that I've got it go on, I'll surely be just fine. No grudges for me, you see, I know forgiveness is key. Though karma has your address, still wish you the best and hope life's kind. I won't only glitter, I'll shine. I don't need the spotlight, I'm divine by design. Knowing all the world will see what radiates from within me. Ooh, I'll shine. Ooh, been to the end of my rope, found life hard to cope. Hit rock bottom, it seemed. Like a phoenix, I'll always end up rising high. Part of the master's plan is who I am, and now I know what didn't break me was only there to help me grow. I'm gonna shine, shine. I'll shine, I'll be just fine. I will be just fine. I'll shine, you're gonna see the light in me. I'll shine, I'm gonna shine.
Welcome back, Source Nation. Now here's your host, Kathy B.
Welcome back, Source Nation. Welcome back. You're listening live right here on the Ladies Lounge. We have about an hour and 42 minutes before we lose the live feed. Telephone number to reach us tonight is 619-924-0933. Again, 619-924-0933. Well, you guys know that we are doing some wonderful things this year. as well as going into the new year. And one of the things that I love doing here on the Ladies Lounge is definitely having some talented women here in the studio with me where we begin to talk about their life's journey. And you know what? We're going to get that started tonight where I'm going to be speaking with a lovely young lady, Sanita Mitchell. Now, let me give you guys just a little bit about the book that we're going to be speaking on and the beautiful ladies that will come into the studio from time to time to share their journeys with us. So a little bit about the book. Now, this book was designed to feature women who are using their gifts for the greater good, taking the gifts beyond the boundaries of their own zip code and being intentional about inspiring others by sharing their stories, their lessons, and their knowledge. Now, each contributing author will share their story about how they discovered their unique gift or calling in spite of life distractions, what challenges they faced along the way to walking in their greatness. Oh, I love that. How they found the drive and focus to commit to process the most pivotal lessons they've learned and what fears they had to face and how they now use their gifts to impact and inspire others. Love it. So I am excited to have this beautiful young lady in the studio with me. She's going to talk more about her journey right here on the Ladies Lounge. I'm going to be speaking with Miss Sanita Mitchell. Sanita, hello. How are you? And welcome to the Ladies Lounge.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for this opportunity.
You're welcome, Sanita. Of course, you know, I haven't had the opportunity to share all about you to the Source Nation family and definitely the ladies here in the Ladies Lounge. But if you will, please, if you could take a moment just to introduce yourself, and we'll jump right into the conversation from there.
Okay, well, my name is Sanita Mitchell, and I am a wife, a mother, an entrepreneur, and it is my dream and my goal to help women go from tragedy to triumphing. And so I am just so excited to be a part of this book, and I know we're going to get on into it, but that's who I am. I am just ready to inspire the nations with my story because I know that my story has power to help women.
Love it. And that's exactly what we do, Sanita, here on the Ladies Lounge. One of the things that I love about this particular segment is the fact that I want to be able to empower women, especially the ones that are in transition in life. And what do I mean by that is the fact that, just as you said, you are a wife, you are a mother, you are a career woman, but sometimes we tend to put our dreams aside so we can do all those things. So yes. I love the fact that I can just say, hey, you know what? It's great that you are a career woman. It's great that you're a wife. It's great that you are a mother. But what are the things that you, before you even took on this role, what are the things that you actually loved and wanted to do, but you set it aside for whatever reason? So now is your opportunity to thrive and do those things. So I love that. I love that I'm going to speak with you about your journey, and I love the fact that you want to help others. So that is amazing. So let's jump right into it. The first question that I'm going to ask you, Sanita, in reference to your book, because you said that you had a story to tell and a message to get out. If you will, please, share with the ladies here in the lounge exactly what the message is and what is your journey.
Okay, great. So in our book, my chapter is about Shattered Dreams Still Glitter. So that is the title of my book, and it is about my experience losing my daughter, Anaya, and the process that I had to go through to allow God to take my shattered and fragmented dream and piece it back together, to create the image of the person who is broken, but the light still shines. So in my process, I could have easily allowed my light to be diminished, but I chose to let my light shine. As is written in Matthew 5:16, to let your light so shine that others will see your good works and glorify your God who is in heaven. So in that sense, I had to allow God to create to take this broken image and restore it, so now that it'll shine brighter than it ever shined before. And so now I'm going to encourage other women with shattered dreams to let them know that their dreams can still shine through, even if it's been broken. It still can glitter. It still can shine, because I love glitter. So that's why I had the glitter in my chapter. Is, things still, even though it's broken, it can still create something so beautiful.
Mhm. I love that, and the fact that you want to be able to bring a message and be able to speak about your beautiful angel that was present here in your life and here on your earth, and now is home with God. And I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm happy to know that you're taking the love that you have for her and her life, and you're building onto that. I think that is amazing. So I want to start right there. I want to talk about the area of loss. And in the area of loss, how can you build from there? What are some of the things that you personally had to triumph over to be where you are right now? Can you share that with us?
Sure. One of the main things that I had to do was to face the pain. Sometimes when you've lost something so dear and near to you, you tend to not want to face it. You tend to want to hide it. You tend to want to not acknowledge it. So the first thing I had to do was to finally just face that I was hurting, and I had to triumph over other people who may have told me to move on, but I was still in my broken space. So I had to, instead of trying to please them by, wearing the facade of not hurting, I had to actually just face it head on so that I could move through my grief process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you're certainly right about that, Sanita, where you go through the area of pain and you have to face pain. As I stated, I have not experienced losing a child, but I equate the loss of, a broken and failed marriage. And that's what I had to go through, where my second marriage, and I wanted that marriage so badly. I really did. And when we couldn't become successful, there was a time where I felt, wow, this is the second marriage. Obviously, it must be me, and I'm doing something wrong, or maybe I'm not meant to be anyone's wife. Maybe it's a sign of me being alone. So I definitely can understand that. So thank you so much for sharing that. Now, if you will, share with the ladies, once we recognize pain, we get to the point where we can recognize pain, where would we go from there? What are your thoughts on that?
Once you've recognized your pain, you have to then be able to serve other people. So once you've acknowledged your pain and you've dealt with your pain, whether you've dealt with it with professional help, like I had to go and really talk to someone because, mental health is very important. And so I did have to go and speak to someone. But after you've dealt with your pain and you've come through the grips of dealing with your pain, then now you begin to be able to help other people to get through their pain. So like you had said, I've never been divorced, but we've all experienced pain, and we have to go through the process of healing, I should say, is the next thing, is just going through that process. And then the last thing would be to be able to go out and share your story, because I found that the more I shared my story, the more that I received deliverance, the more I was helped, the more I was healed by realizing that I wasn't alone through losing my daughter, that I learned that there were a whole bunch of women who were suffering in silence, and they just felt like they didn't have a voice, especially in the community of infant loss. So being able to go back and share my story would be that next step after healing, is to really just talk about it and talk about where you are, even if you're not totally healed, just talking about where you are, because each part of that process can help another woman where she is in the process.
I believe that. I find that to be something that's very key. And that's exactly what I did, too, in my journey as I began to talk about it, because just as you said, you never know where that person may be in their walk. And it can very well be your strength is what gives them the hope and the step to say, okay, I'm ready to heal myself. So I'm glad that you said that, because I find talking to be very therapeutic. Not only that, it gets you out of the space of feeling hopeless. There's no longer any hopelessness if you're able to speak about it. So, great job on that. Great job on that.
Yeah, thank you.
You're right. You don't feel isolated. And I think that, again, having people around you that have experienced that and they're able to see how strong you are in speaking on it, it positions them in a better light to make the decisions to do what they need to move past that. Now, once we recognize the pain and we recognize the fact that we're able to speak on it and we're beginning to make a transition in our lives, what else did you do to get you to where you are right
now? After you have dealt with your pain and you have begin to share your story, the next thing is that you begin to just find out what that next assignment is. Like, I believe that God has us all go through different things for a purpose. So nothing is just happening to you just because, it's just happening. But now you begin to find out what is that purpose and begin to walk in that particular purpose. So now it may be bigger than you. Like this, I would have never thought I would be on the radio. I would have never thought that I would have been writing books. Like, you just you open yourself up for something bigger. Like, it's something bigger. And it may not be, being on a big stage or anything like that, but your stage is your life. So anybody that comes in contact with you, you have to be in that place, in your purpose, to know that, okay, I lost my baby, that my purpose is now to help other women, help other couples. Because, again, it's me and my husband, and he too now rises up to another level to say, I'm going to be the voice. I'm going to be the face. I'm going to tell the story. I'm going to break the silence of infant loss, because that's what happens is now you find yourself in a new place that you never would have thought you were in, because now you've opened yourself up. You've opened yourself up to something bigger. And so that would be the next thing. After you begin to share your story, you start to reevaluate what is you stepping into your greatness. Like we said, it's walking into that greatness. It's walking into your purpose. It's walking into the power that is within you to help someone else.
Mhm. I believe that. Now, let's talk about being able to speak with other couples or other people that you have come in contact with when they have lost a child. What are some of the things that you're offering? Are you all doing any type of meetups where you can speak openly and freely about what has transitioned in your life. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Okay, great. So actually, one of the things, and I believe I can share that now, is that we have started a nonprofit. It's still in the. I have received my IRS 501c3 for my nonprofit, which is called Anaya's Project, and so that is actually going to do just that. Offer the community meetups, symposiums, web seminars, things that are going to help bring grieving families together so that they can cope, so they can work through their emotions, because no one knows what that feels like better than someone who has been there and are on the other side. Even though you're never really over it, but we're in a place where we can actually share our story comfortably to where it would help someone else. So actually, that's the bigger piece, is now we've birthed Anaya's Project to do just that, so people can look forward to seeing that in 2018 from me.
Okay. Now, is that something locally that you're offering within your area, or are you sharing that, through social media? How are you getting the word out about Anaya's Project?
As I said, we just formed it. Like, we are just in the beginning process. We haven't really unveiled it all the way out just yet. We plan to make an announcement about it by the end of the year or the very beginning of 2018, January. And so they will be seeing some workshops and things that are planned for the beginning quarter, the first quarter of 2018.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So we'll have a website. We'll have Facebook page. So we'll have all of those media outlets that they can find us at.
Awesome. I love that. Now, you mentioned, and I'm so glad that you brought your husband into the conversation, because that's where, we here at Source Radio Network, as well as here in the Ladies Lounge, we believe in family. We believe in unity and being able to communicate. If you will, please, let's share with the ladies in the lounge. Definitely, if you you're married and your spouse is there, how did you all deal with that? What was the dynamics like within the household after losing Anaya? I mean, were there any type of communication problems between you and your husband? And if you have other children, how did you explain that? Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Sure. The dynamics for me, I had my daughter, we lost her at 28 weeks of pregnancy. So I had to have a C-section, which was called a classical C-section. So it was a very painful process for me, so painful that I actually had reached a low point where I didn't even want to be here anymore. As far, I really wanted to in my life, that's how bad it became. But thanks be to God, I did not. And my husband and I, that is a really good question, because people do ask us that, how did we get through it together? And it was communication. We talked. There was some, even now, we're still learning. So this was back in 2010, April 26, 2010. We're still learning about how each one of us felt about it, how we processed it. This was my husband's first pregnancy. He's never had anybody pregnant before. He's never been in a delivery room before. And this was his first experience. And so it took a lot of prayer. It took us really just listening to one another and giving each other space. We had to go through all the, the phases of grief. We were angry. We were sad. There was times when I would come home crying, driving to work crying, coming in the house crying. The effects on we are a blended family, so I had already had 2 children, and that one was in his teens, and the other one, he was like 8 or 9 at the time, and so that impacted them. My teenager, he was very sad. He actually, he likes to play music, so he had actually stopped playing his keyboard, and that was a sign for us that something was going on with him. And he finally, broke down with his grandmother and told her, that he was really upset. And he actually has a tattoo on his arm to remember her. So he has an angel, a baby angel with her name on his arm. So, and then with my youngest at the time, he just was quiet. Like, he's always been quiet, but like he was just extra quiet.
Really quiet.
So so he was a little withdrawn, didn't really know how to process it, because at 28 weeks, I mean, he saw me, pregnant. We were talking about her. We were, she was a daily part of our conversation. So it just really impacted us. And like from my husband's perspective, it was it's important for him to do this organization as well, because sometimes the men get overlooked. They get passed by. People were telling him, to be strong. Even when we did the memorial service, he got a call from a family member that told him, don't cry. Like, really? I mean, this is his daughter. What do you mean we're going to a service for his daughter? You know what I mean? Like, so really we rallied together, because it's really unbelievable about the number of things people will say to you once you have lost a baby. So we really had to become a core. We became stronger.
Yes.
We really hunkered down right after losing her. So it was mainly the communication, prayer. There were a few people that we could talk to about it, but really it wasn't that many people that we could talk to. So it was really just me and him just talking, because people just didn't know what to say. Yeah.
And I can imagine that. Especially when you were preparing to bring a new life into the world, and your family is ready in acceptance of her, and then to come home with without her. It's tragic. So a lot of people probably wouldn't know what to say. The fact that you and your family realized that communication was key, that's amazing. Because the one thing that I would say within the African American household, that is something that we still to this day have not mastered. With any type of situation, whether it be a family member loss, or whether it be a divorce, whether it be drugs or what have you, we still yet have come together to say, this is how we speak to one another. This is how we cry with one another, yell with one another, and heal with one another. We have not mastered that. So to hear that you and your husband and your children were able to come together and talk about it, and it made you that much stronger. That is amazing, and I truly commend you on that. I love the fact that you stated that you and your husband at some points realized that you had to have that space, because really, truthfully and honestly, everybody grieves differently. No grief is the same. So the fact that you realized that your space was very important, but yet you brought it back together, is amazing within itself. And I truly commend you for doing so. So since then,
there was a lot of tough conversations. Like, I mean, sometimes, you know, when you're married, like, we had to help each other because we were, in some instances, developing bad habits. Like, he had this bracelet that he just wouldn't take off. You know, like, when we got to the hospital and we were leaving, they gave us a nice package with our daughter's things and like some little mementos and things, and they gave each of us a never forgotten bracelet, and he just never would take it off. And I had to get him after like probably almost a year. He never took it off. And I was like, babe, you've got to know, you know, this is a piece of her, but you're going to have to take that bracelet off. Like, it's becoming like a necessity thing. And so, yeah, you know, being able to have those difficult conversations and doing it in love and you know, he did accept it. You know what I mean? I mean, it was hurtful because he didn't realize that that's what he was doing. And it was the same. He had to do it for me, but like further up, he told me about this teddy bear that I had that I was sleeping with her bear that was in her bassinet. And so I had to let it go, and then I let him keep the bracelet for a while. But at some point, you just have to have those difficult conversations, and that's love because, you know, in marriage, you just have to be able to sometimes have the difficult conversations and point out things that maybe your spouse doesn't even realize that that's what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. You're right. And, again, I do believe, too, having those difficult conversations is what makes life a whole lot easier and better for everyone involved. You know, again, going back to my divorce, having to sit down and tell my sons that your dad is no longer going to be here, and a lot of people fought me for telling them the reason. I said, you know, why am I going to tell you that your daddy's not here, but I can't tell you why your daddy's not here, if that makes sense. Right. So I sat my sons down, and this is the first time they ever heard the word infidelity.
Wow.
And they're looking at me like, what's that?
Mm-hmm.
You know? And I'm like, well, this is what happened, and this is the reason why Dad is not here anymore. You know?
Wow.
And it was hard, but I wasn't going to sit there and lie to them either. So, yeah, the fact that you have to have difficult conversations, it's a must.
Yes.
You know? And I do believe that, you know, God places us in areas of our life where it's not going to be comfortable. He already knows it's not comfortable, but yet he already knows the outcome. So if you position yourself to be ready for that, then everything is going to be okay. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Absolutely.
I love that. I love that. So since then, now that you formed the Anaya's Project, and now that you are part of the book, share with the ladies in the lounge, how receptive is your story? How has it been meeting other people, sharing the story, and what are you receiving from that?
Well, what I've learned is that there is a community of women and families that are dealing with the loss. We also dealt with infertility issues and struggles, and we did go on after 3 years after we lost Anaya. We did have 2 more children, even after we were told that we would never be, like, our percentage was like 13% to conceive on our own. And so to offer women who, couples who, and I say women because initially it's because, you know, talking to women, when they deal with infertility, they deal with the loss, and then I also dealt with the miscarriage after her. Okay. And so when you deal with that, women tend to not have hope. Like couples, families, I should say, tend to not have any hope. Like after you've dealt with that, dealt with the loss, you know, you go through your grief, you go through your ups and downs of disappointment because you want this baby so bad, and you become, you know, the spiral of up and down. Like talk to women and let them know that even if you still want this desire of a baby, that there's still hope, even against the odds. Like we were told that we had a chance of having another child on our own. And we did. We did. And I wasn't even expecting this last one. You know, I was just like, woo, okay, thank you, God. You know, so we had our daughter after 3 years, and then our son was just like a total blessing. I mean, they were both blessings, but, like, we were just like, whoa, we going to have another one back to back. Like, she was 3 months. She was like 3 months when I conceived him. And so to have, you know, be pregnant and have a newborn was kind of really crazy. But to be able to share that part of the journey that, yes, it was a very painful situation that we went through, but there is joy. There is hope. There is that rainbow at the end of the storm. If you can just weather the storm, at the end you can see the rainbow. And that rainbow, you know, for us was, you know, the children. God, you know, he gave us what we desired. But you sometimes got to go through your storm, and you have to weather your storm, all the pieces, the fertility, going to the doctors, doing that, you know, losing another miscarriage, you know, the emotions, the feelings. So when I'm able to share my story and I see women, whether they've ever lost a child or not, see that they can go through some of the darkest areas of their life and still have hope, and come out and say, you know what, if she can go through that and be able to stand firm and to be able to stand in confidence and share her story, I can go through my storm. I can go through my pain. I can get through this situation. That gives me joy when I see another woman, you know, in the midst of her pain, can just look at me. And even in the midst of her pain, she might not fully realize the joy that I'm talking about. But for that moment, you know, she can feel it and she can receive it. And that to me is so valuable, is when that woman can look at me and say, okay, you're right, I can get through this. And so that is my joy. That is what motivates me, is to let them know that they can get through the storm.
Wow, I love it. I love it. Well, Sanita, I'm telling you, I love what you said tonight in tonight's conversation, and definitely what you're doing in your community and helping women as well as families deal with grief. So amazing journey that you have shared with us. What we like to do, Sanita, when we are ending our conversation is have the opportunity to share maybe some encouraging word or maybe some tips and advice that we have not shared in tonight's conversation. If you wish to contribute, I would love for you to do so at this time.
Yes, I would just like to encourage the ladies or your listeners to just walk in your greatness. Again, as I said in Matthew 5:16, to let your light shine. It's not about you. It's about allowing God to get the purpose out of your life, to let God get the glory out of your life. And even if your storm is just for a little while, let your light shine so people will see the good works and allow God and be able to give glory to God. That's what I would leave with your listeners.
Awesome. And if you will, please share with the ladies in the lounge, how can we get more information about you and continue to support you in your efforts?
Sure. I can be found at www.walkingingreatness.com. That is where they can find more about me, and I have another book that I have that is there that actually details how 10 steps that I use to get through my own personal grief, so they could find that book there as well. But, yes, that's where they can learn more about me and to contact me.
Wow. Okay. Well, thank you, Sanita, for coming in once again tonight and giving us some great information in reference to your journey. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us, and we definitely look forward to hearing more great things from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a great evening.
You too.
Well, Source Nation, you heard it right there from Miss Sanita Mitchell. She is part of an amazing book series. I'm excited to be speaking with her and another group of amazing women that will come in and share their journey with us. What I love most about Sanita's conversation tonight was the fact that she really talked about being able to move on after her daughter's passing, Anaya, and the fact that she's been able to build on her beautiful daughter's memory with sharing how she was able to cope with the grief, but yet be able to counsel other women and other families to let them know that although they were here on earth for a short while, their memory will begin to last. It's a lasting memory. One of the things that Sanita and I both agree upon is the fact that you have to begin to communicate. Communication is very key. I also believe that it's key, especially in the area of grief, where, sometimes the grieving process tends to stifle you, and it puts an area of pain. It puts an area of confusion, anger. These are all of the emotions that you are going through, as well as emotion. So it's motion and emotion that you are dealing with. But at the end of the day, it's how are we going to take what we're going through and be able to move on from that. And the fact is that she used the beautiful gift that God gave her, which was Anaya, and she's passing on the memory to others and allowing them to see that she and her husband and her family are doing well after. So I love that. For more information about Sanita Mitchell, you definitely can go out to Kathy B, Source Radio Network, as well as our main station page, Source Radio Network. I'm telling you, we have some wonderful and amazing women in the studio with us. You definitely don't want to miss this. Guys, thank you so much for being here. We look forward to having you back again next week for the Ladies Lounge. Be blessed.